Ballyhoo and welcome. The Passion Project continues. My name is Remedy Robinson, and this is an appreciation. This is an exploration of linguistics, language, and the joy of putting in the effort, as framed by the peerless poetry of the modern-day master, Elvis Costello. Today's slow drag is with The Man You Love to Hate from The Boy Named If, released in 2022. The songwriting is credited to Elvis Costello. This jaunty, sinister piece utilizes many literary devices to perfection: allusion, alliteration, metaphor, mythological references, a little bit of meta-reminiscences maybe, and of course Mr. Costello's brilliant brand of wordplay that continues to astound. Or at least I think all of this is going on. This slow drag comes with the caveat that this appreciation doubles as a hope of a conversation about what exactly do you think is going on in this dreadfully alluring piece. I went to a theater on Silhouette Street. It had a taste of decay and a scent of defeat. All of the patrons in the pews were people that I'd killed or used. The actors on the stage were equally skilled. The players took turns in lighting the fuse. One of them said, "Now you must choose." A brilliant wordsmith, Mr. Costello, has disrupted the more familiar collocations, the taste of defeat and the smell of decay, flipping them in order to confound our senses. The taste of decay and the scent of defeat starts this piece off on its back foot. This sensory manipulation doesn't end there. The double meaning of pew is both childish and sophisticated. Take note of the seemingly implausible people that I killed or used, as it will undoubtedly come up again. What do you think of the arbitrary nature of equally skilled? It makes the mind reel with possibilities as to their actual level of accomplishment. And while it might be safe to assume that the actors and the players are one and the same, this cannot be concretely quantified. Likewise, we don't have much to go on regarding this mysterious fuse, unless I've missed a clue. A man of infamy or ill repute, and that's the one that we will execute. There seems to have been a bit of unfinished business between the first verse and this bridge. The last line of the preceding verse asserted, "One of them said, 'Now you must choose.' So here are the options, infamy or ill repute. Ostensibly, these words are synonyms. Never you mind, though, since you're doomed whichever one you choose. Opting for the word ill repute over disrepute adds to the sensory aspect of this piece. Not to mention, it adds a nice little touch of alliteration. Mr. Costello makes it clear that there is a huge distinction between being prolific and being careless. There is not a hair out of place. None of that mob turned up late. They said you'd better concentrate, so start the show, 'cause we can't wait for the man you love to hate. Densely populated, already we've had references to patrons, actors, players, and now to that mob. It has undertones of the arguably meta Suit of Lights from my sentimental favorite, King of America. And while there might be a bit more meta-action as we go through these lyrics, you'd best shut your mouth if you think The Man You Love to Hate is in any way a reference to our beloved entertainer, Mr. Costello himself. Could you imagine someone hate listening to Elvis Costello? I'd put my money on that hate dissipating quicker than you can say, "I'm shattered like a piece of crystal porcelain or alabaster." All of the patrons sitting on pews were the shades of the ghosts of the once accused. There was music that dragged in line and word. Not a penny was spent or a conscience was spared. The hero's motives were never in doubt. We laughed at the speeches that he would spout. Suddenly there arose a shout. As yet I've not mentioned the rhymes and their schemes in this piece, but they're as clever and elegant as ever. In this verse alone there's pews and accused, doubt, sprout, and shout, and a great near rhyme in the middle, word and spared. Here again we have another reference to patrons. Recall from the first verse, all of the patrons were people that I killed or used. Now those same patrons sit where the shades of the ghost of the once accused. I'm working hard to reconcile these two revelations. The ghost could be the ones he killed, but that's not the information we've been provided with. It's the ghost of the accused. Oh my golly, this is so complicated in such a lovely way. As I've mentioned, this is where the conversation starts. Who is the hero? And are their motives, in fact, heroic? What is meant by a conscience wasn't spared? I'm American and not as familiar as many of you are, but this has a bit of a pantomime feel to it. I'm not sure, so please let me know. Confessions simply tumbled out, and marriage vows that someone mumbled about. As with the unfinished business about having to choose from the first verse, the second verse right before this bridge offers another piece of unattended to business. There was a mention of laughable speeches and something shouted. Turns out it was a confession and mumbled marriage vows. The closing act, the first one billed into the limelight thrilled. The closing act, I assume, is synonymous with the headliner, the top billed performer. As such, there's not a lot of information parted that I can decipher. The tail of the ship lured onto the rocks under the cover of darkness. The hold was plundered, my mouth was parched, my eyes red-rimmed, my false light shone, and my ghost light dimmed. In the Odyssey, it's hubris that causes Poseidon to sink Odysseus' ship after Odysseus reveals his true identity. If I've misremembered this, please let me know. Past this illusion, I'm at sea as to make heads or tails of the meaning behind the third verse. What is a false light and what is a ghost light? And what makes one shine and one dim? Having a parched mouth on a sinking ship sounds to me like the rephrasing of water, water everywhere and not a drop to drink from Samuel Taylor Coleridge's The Rime of the Ancient Mariner. Oh, this is so intriguing. I went to a house on Silhouette Street where I lived once and died once more. Awoke a woman I once adored. Her husband came to the door in a masquerade of dignity. He said, I'm pleased to meet you, but you don't know me. She took my money and handed me the key. Using two sets of appealing rhymes, more adored and door, and dignity, me and key. This fourth verse brings us back to the first line of the piece, only now it's a house rather than a theater on Silhouette Street. The reference is not a mere coincidence, of course. There are ghosts populating each verse, and the thread of infamy or ill-repute lingers after each line. How meta can we assume this verse is? Frankly, sometimes I feel as if some things are none of our business. The number on the fob was 999. She whispered, that's your room and this is mine. But that's a chamber that you can't afford. It's one door down next to the emergency ward. Here's another fantastic rhyme pair of 999 and mine. 999, of course, denotes emergency, mirroring the word mentioned in the last line. I really love how distinction between a hotel and a hospital seems to have gotten a bit muddled over the course of this one perplexing, provocative verse. I'm a one-party state, the man you love to hate, the girl you used to care for without a why or wherefore. The country that I loved is just a problem to solve until we all disintegrate before the man you love to hate. As with other pieces, namely Painted from Memories, Toledo, and Brutal Use, London's Brilliant Parade, Mr. Costello doesn't seem content to leave well enough alone. In each of these pieces, there's an ending outro or a coda that spits out a little more information, adding a parting shot that feels almost beside the point. The girl you used to care for without a why or wherefore. I love the use of the word wherefore. It just means reason, yet evokes Shakespeare. Mr. Costello's word choice is always a marvel, and okay. While the narrative does say that he is the man you love to hate, I still refuse to believe it's self-referential. As with so many passages, expressions, metaphors, and allusions, this coda invites an entire conversation all on its own. I strongly believe we owe it to Mr. Costello to honor his dedication to his craft by dedication of our own. To know we'll never fully understand, yet continue to puzzle over these words, is part of the joy, the absolute joy of being an Elvis Costello fan.
Dig it.
Again, this has been a slow drag with The Man You Love to Hate from 2022's The Boy Named If. Mr. Costello is so prolific, innovative, thoughtful, giving, and fearless as a songwriter. As such, I truly believe it is our responsibility to put in the work to at least appreciate, explore, if not exactly understand what he's writing about, attempt to puzzle through his poetic meaning. Then again, it might all be pretty sounding nonsense for all I know. The answer isn't as interesting as the pursuit, in my opinion. So, what are your linguistic and language thoughts, suspicions, and musings about this rowdy piece? I hope my humble attempt to piece it all together has been entertaining as well as edifying. I imagine this is a piece that will warrant another slow drag sometime in the future after it's wiggled itself a little more deeply into my brain and heart tissue. Another precious gem from The Boy Named If you'll enjoy a slow drag with is his magnum opus. That's a slow drag with My Most Beautiful Mistake, a piece I continue to be truly besotted with. And that's it for today's slow drag, my friend. Thank you for listening. I'll be back soon with another slow drag, so please follow the show so you won't miss an episode. You can find me on Instagram and Blue Sky Social. It's the social media platform created by the well-intended people who made the original Twitter, which I simply cannot support any longer. Please contact me if you need an invitation code. And as a reminder, as I continue writing my second novel, The Macron and the Breve, I've placed the audio version of my first novel, The Most Terrible Time in My Life, ends Thursday, on YouTube. Please follow the link provided if you'd like to listen for free. I know you'll love it. And as always, thank you for helping to get the word out about this little passion project. Truly, it means the world. So, until next time, adieu, my little value. slow drag with remedy.